we're going to look at Revelation chapter 17. Now, Satan, he's done a great effect deceiving the world through one particular means. And this is something that you got to pay attention to. This is Satan's success. I want you to also turn to Matthew 24. So two places, Matthew 24 and Revelation 17. This is Satan's greatest success. You ready for this? Okay, we all can agree that the Catholic Church, that it is an evil system, an organization that has deceived souls.
Yep, amen.
We can also agree that it is also very powerful. But here's the thing. We don't think on how much evil it is and how much powerful it is. And that was Satan's greatest success. Ever since the beginning of the New Testament, there is one thing you got to get through your head. Rome, Satan's power in Rome has never ceased. Ever since the beginning of the Lord Jesus Christ. The power of Rome never ceased. It has always continued. But it switched. This is an important note. You ready? That way you can catch the Catholic Church, the Roman power. It always switched roles. It transitioned to a different form. It evolved and metaphorized itself into a different kind of being. That's how the Roman power survived. Now let's start off with the beginning during Jesus and the early apostles. During Jesus and the apostles, the Roman Empire persecuted Christians and burned many of them. What happened after that was that Constantine combined Roman paganism with the Christian churches. And thus Roman Catholicism formed. So this is the brainwashing tactic. You ready for this? The brainwashing tactic is how they were able to get billions of people was, back then we were the bad guys. We were in the wrong. But we changed so much, now we're of Jesus Christ and the church. There's a grand revival now. And now we're the church of God. That's how they deceive people. They will talk bad about Rome persecuting the early Christians, but not themselves during the Dark Ages. Now what happened after that? Did persecution stop? No, they persecuted many Bible believers. So there were Protestants, Anabaptists, Waldensians, who were persecuted by the Roman Catholic Church. The infamous Inquisition. The most infamous Inquisition. Now think about it. There's also another group of people that Rome has attacked. You ready for this? This is why we believe in dispensationalism. This is Satan's greatest trick. He also attacked another group of people. They were the Jews. Jews were persecuted long before Christians, you've got to understand, ever since the BCs. Rome had an iron fist. Jews tried to break free. They could not. But they lost their nation under the power of Rome. Jerusalem fell. Jerusalem fell under the power of Rome during the early days of the Jews. And the Jews had no homeland. Now what happened is, during the Roman Catholic Church, you know who they were against? Not just Protestants. You know who they were also against? Jews. They did not like Jews. Jews were also persecuted during the time of the Catholic Church. The Spanish Inquisition in Spain is the most infamous, bloodiest torture and inquisition throughout history. The Spanish Inquisition. Yeah. So Christians were heavily persecuted. By the way, Spain was not only responsible for the Spanish Inquisition, Spain was also responsible for the Jews where they were kicked out. So they had another mass gathering, etc. So, not only that, think about this, but now we're past the Dark Ages. We hit the Great Awakening revivals. Well, the Catholic Church, it is powerful, but it's not that bad now. Oh, really? It's not that bad. It's not that bad? Did you study historical things concerning what happened during the Great Awakenings? What happened is that if you read the president's statements, they all did not like the Catholics or the Pope. They were heavily against them. And they were shouting, and they were talking about how the Catholics were coming in and how the nation would pretty soon be controlled more and more through Roman Catholicism. Now, don't get me wrong. I immigrated here to America. I thank God for the freedom. Amen. I thank God for the freedom to immigrate and stuff like that. But you got to understand this. Satan is also very clever to use good things for something bad as well. So then you have illegal immigration. You have a mass amount of immigration as well. Now, think about it. What religion do you think they're mostly of? Yeah. A lot of them. Come on. See? Catholicism. That's how Satan can use it. Satan can use anything that has good intentions and good purpose for an evil thing. Yep. Now think about this. Satan does not give something completely evil. He does half good and half bad. We Christians go for the good thing. Even if it's half good, we would go for the good thing. But if there's a bad thing involved, we don't hesitate to expose that. We don't just say it's all good when it's half good, half bad. No, we expose everything that's bad, and we show everything that's good as well. So you got to understand this. During the Great Awakenings, the Catholic Church, they went underground. And then it was through this group called the Illuminati. Now think about this. The Jesuits during this time, which is very interesting, the Catholic Church's power went downhill, supposedly. But mysteriously, they survived. Think about this. During the Dark Ages, Rome died out, but mysteriously, they survived. You know what Satan's power always is? A mystery. Yep. Now, you know what Satan also did? How he was able to attack the Jews right here? During this time, you had some of the people, such as Rothschilds, and then Jewish bankers. These people were part of the Jewish system. Now, what happened is, what Satan does, is that now when he attacks the Jewish people, you know what he does? These guys, the Catholics, they go underground. They're not that powerful. But now you can pay attention to who to blame. Who do you blame for all the conspiracies, America falling apart and all that? Who do you pay attention to? Now, you want me to give you evidence for this? How many in conspiracy theory realms heard of the name of Rothschild? That ain't no secret. That's so plain and evident. Mm-hmm. But how many of you know the name of the Jesuit superior general? Oh. You know what you do? You hide yourself and you put the blame on somebody else. That's their biggest tactic. So here's the thing. Like I said, if there's some truth in there, then we're going to go for truth. We don't hesitate for that. But remember, Satan doesn't just give truth. He gives an element of truth with an element of a lie as well. So here's something what Satan does now, which is popular among the conspiracy theory realm. He gives out the thing concerning about the Khazars and the Ashkenazi stuff. Yeah. But you got to understand this. That is a ploy from the devil to divert your attention away from the real enemy and think that these are the guys that run the world, that run the show. You got to understand this too, is that conspiracy theories, not all of them are true. Mm-hmm. This is a fact if you study conspiracies. Yep. If you're into conspiracies, you would believe in a thing called psyops. Mm-hmm. Psyops is what they would do to provide false information online so that they can deceive you. Yep. If your faith is on YouTube and Google and Facebook, who are already the systems and tools of the devil, where's your faith at? Amen, yeah. Oh, I want to expose Satan's system. Really? Why do you have so much faith in his technology? To show you the truth. You know where you should be looking at? Yeah, come on. Amen. You know what the Word of God says concerning about the Khazars, Ashkenazi, and that kind of stuff? That's just nonsense. What God says is this. His people, the nation of Israel, who gathered together in 1948, he says those are his people. He says those are his people. But what about the things where you can find Jewish conspiracies? That's pretty simple. This is not the whole nation of Israel. These are individual Jews. Ever since the beginning of Jesus Christ, didn't Satan have certain Jewish individuals who sided with Rome? Oh, yeah. Judas, yeah. He had Judas Iscariot. Yeah. He had the Pharisees and Sadducees. By the way, a lot of their religions is similar with Masonry, believe it or not. Sadducees, Pharisees, because they came from, if you know, Bible scholars agree with this. The Judaism during Jesus' day, it took some form of Babylon with them. What did God say at Revelation 17? Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, mystery what? Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Did you read verse 5? What does it say? The first one, mystery, right? That's Catholicism. How was ancient Roman mystery? We became a Christian church. How did this now become a mystery? Back then, Protestants pointed the Pope to be the Antichrist. Today, they don't think the Pope is the Antichrist because he seems to be very weak now. See, that's mystery going underground through conspiracy Illuminati. That's how he deceives them. And then he diverts your attentions toward the Jewish people. You notice from the beginning to today, Satan attacked the Jewish people. From beginning to end, Satan attacked the Christian church. Rome has been in power to attack two groups of people. And people who are truthers, who get into anti-Semitism, get on the Jews and say free Palestine, that the Jews should not have that land, and then blame it all on Rothschilds and the Jews. That's Satan's tactic, because now you got, as you continue on in history, an event called the Holocaust. You know who the Nazis were against? Jews as well as Christians who supported and hid the Jews. So both Christians who supported and hid the Jews, they were also persecuted by the Nazis. You don't know this. Nazis, you know what they were? Aha! That's mystery. You don't believe it? Look at pictures of Adolf Hitler in his meetings with Catholic priests. Yeah. Look at the Pope who announced at the Vatican, the Pope who was current during World War II, he announced this: we support Japan, Germany, and Italy during World War II. What are you going to do with that? Mystery. Mystery. So then now they're able to do a Holocaust against the Jews and millions died. You know why? The tactic is this. Don't blame it on the Catholics. Blame it on who? What is the conspiracy lie? Don't blame it on this group. Blame it on who? Jews run the world. Jews ruin everything. That protocols of the elders of Zion, that's just garbage. That is garbage to stir up conspiracy where you can retaliate against Jews. By the way, that's what Hitler used. Yep. That's what Hitler used. And millions died. If you wanted that's why Adolf Hitler is a great picture of the Antichrist. A great picture of number 5 as the Antichrist. There are other 4 behind him, which are good pictures, but you can watch that online, okay? But interestingly, Adolf Hitler's card is 555. Yep. Wait till 666 comes and see who's the 6th guy. Yep. Satan got guy number 6 coming in. And what do you think is going to happen? He's going to have another Holocaust. And this is going to wipe out perhaps about a third of the Jews. This is going to be bigger than Hitler. So it's going to be about a third of the Jews right here. And then Satan, he's going to attack them one more time, blame it on the Jews, because look at Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Look at verse 24. For there shall arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that it were possible they shall deceive the very elect. So notice that there's going to be this false Christ, Antichrist, that will come out. Look at verse 16. What happens when this Antichrist rules at the tribulation? Then let them which be in where? Judea, what happens to them? Flee into the mountains. They're running away. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the what? Sabbath day. That's not the Christian church. We don't observe the Sabbath. Those are Jews. Amen. So notice right here, the Jews are getting persecuted by the Antichrist. He's going to bring a major Holocaust that's going to be way bigger than Adolf Hitler. But you see what Satan's preparing? To put it all on Jews. Because who's in charge of Hollywood? Jews. Who's in charge of the banks? Jews. Who was running the Illuminati back then throughout history? It was Jews. So you see that all the attention is on Jews. But did you study the mystery behind the scenes with Hollywood? It's public that there's many Jews in Hollywood. That's public. Yeah. But how much do you know that they are Catholic? Come on. Did you dig up every actor, producer, director, and studios and look at their background if they were Catholic? How much of that is public or a mystery? Oh, by the way, didn't you know who started the first Hollywood movie theater was a Jesuit? You didn't know that, did you? It was like, I forgot which day and age, but where they started that filming thing with the camera, stuff like that, it was started by a Jesuit. You can find that out. Watch my other video concerning about who is Babylon, Hollywood, banks, Jesuits, USA. You can look up that one. When you talk about intelligence agencies, FBI, who do we think? We think about the Masons. But they don't talk about CIA, where William Donovan, the founder, was a Knights of Malta. Knights of Malta, that's Catholic. By the way, the banks, Rothschild is the king, so to speak. But if you dig up every bank from Switzerland and all the other group chains that are tied with Knights of Malta, you know when you total it down, Knights of Malta have more than Rothschilds. Wow. Just look up every bank that's tied to Knights of Malta then, or the Swiss banks that are connected to Knights of Malta. Don't believe me? Do your research. Do your research. Another thing is this. Another thing is that Rothschild, he was given the name Guardian of the Vatican's Treasury. He was given that title. By the way, if you study the Illuminati, yeah, Rothschild funded it, but you know who started it? Who got them together? Rothschild and Adam Weishaupt, the Illuminati, who got the Masons and Jews together? It was the Jesuit superior leader that time. And they started at a Jesuit university, Bavaria. That's when they began. That's mystery. That's mystery. That's mystery Babylon. So you know what you got to do? What you got to do, this is what dispensationalism teaches. This is what Bible believers do. We don't get deceived by the conspiracy out there. And what we do is that we support the nation of Israel because that is God's chosen people. That is what God's going to use at the end times. We don't let these individuals divert our attention from God's nation. We don't let a Judas Iscariot or Pharisees and Sadducees in there divert our attention from the apple of God's eye. Amen. God says they are the apple of my eye. Yeah. So we got to realize that the nation of Israel must be supported. Does that mean they're a perfect nation? Are you kidding me? Do you see a Christian? Do you think the Christian church is perfect too? No, the Christian churches are corrupt. The nation of Israel is corrupt. Everything is corrupt because Satan is the god of this world. But you got to realize this, is that the people that are considered to be God's nation, so the church is God's spiritual nation. Israel is God's physical nation. We got to stand upon what God says in the Word, in His Word. Amen. Not on those people. Who cares about those people? Yeah. God fixes those people. God takes care of His people. By the way, don't you think that throughout the beginning to now, God has taken care of both His Christian children and Jewish children? He taught them a large lesson. And you know what the problem with mankind is? And Christian church and Jews? You know what the problem with everyone is? The things that men learn from history is that they never learn from history. That's a valuable lesson. Look at the obelisk at the Vatican. And then you see it at Washington, D.C. And you'll see it at Jerusalem somewhere as well. You'll see Masonic symbols everywhere. See, they all share one God. It's the God of this world.